Hello and welcome to this video today. I was inspired to record this video as a bit of a reframe as to why I don't think procrastination exists. We'll dive into it a little bit. I've got a few different ideas I'd like to work through with this. But over the past few years, I've just noticed this idea of procrastination just being completely like weaponized against us and even used as a reference for labeling and attaching it to us like it's some sort of deficit that we sometimes put things off. And I have a very different idea. I don't know if I've ever used the term procrastination on myself. Never say never. I possibly have. I see it a lot. I'm involved, in social media. I'm kind of in groups that neurodivergent groups, and obviously I'm connected with a lot of women, and people potentially with mental health that are struggling with anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. So I see this idea of procrastination used a lot, and it's and just the nature of the word, isn't it? Like I haven't actually looked at the definition. I normally do that before I would start something like this, but I'm sure the way I understand it is that it's like putting something off that you could or should do because you don't want to, or you don't feel like it, or you're not prioritizing it, and then feeling a hell of a lot of shame because we do that. So I'm just going to unpack this a little bit because, like I say, it's actually something that I maybe did used to definitely have an inner critic about this for sure. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I definitely used to weaponize this idea that I should do that, or I could have done that, or this needs to be done and I'm not doing it idea. So that probably, without putting the label of procrastination on it, that probably is something that I've definitely had to kind of work through in my mind and let go of. I literally do not live by that inner critic anymore. And I'm going to unpack why in this video. So for a start, everything has priority, right? Some things are more important than others. And I think we as humans are actually pretty good at prioritizing what needs to be done. And actually, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're always kind of assessing our energy levels. We have a pretty good understanding of what something takes to complete. That might be level of attention, focus, physical exertion, mental comprehension, decision making. There's a lot of energy goes into anything we do. And I think actually we're pretty good at judging that subconsciously. We also can sometimes be haunted by conditioning that has moved us away from maybe understanding how to best prioritize our energy because we're told how to prioritize due to other people's preferences. And I think an underlying current in procrastination is that you should be able to do anything that you're commanded to do. Slightly kind of controlly, capitalist, forceful, messing with you. It's that idea, if I give a command, you should be able to do it. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you, inherently wrong with you, maybe. There's also this idea that that something has to be done within somebody else's preferred time frame, within somebody else's preferred constraints or something. And if we can't people please, if we can't please the other person, then there's something wrong with us. And then weaponize that against us to then make us feel guilty or less than, or like I say, have general feelings of shame and unworthiness because we haven't been able to meet these demands of other people or these preferences of other people, whatever it might be. And we're conditioned at school through our education systems and things just to not understand how to use our own energy and go with that natural flow. Like at school, we all know what, if you've gone through a education system, you know what school is. It's like, you will do this. I've decided we're doing this and you'll do it now. And it could even be sometimes that you're really good at something, you just don't have the energy for it then, but we're forced to do it. And then we build up all of these either like rebellious wounds in childhood, the rebellious child wounds, or the wounded child. We can, like I say, start to internalize this, there's something wrong with us, and just feel inherently like we can't do something. And then that's when it's getting into our head and it's making the task seem more difficult than actually it would or could be, because in circumstances in our past or in childhood, we've been made to feel inferior, or that we can't do it, for example. And that self-loathing is underlying what causes a lot of mental health problems, depression, anxiety, OCD, all these things where we're trying to gain back control, definitely linked with ADHD, of course, autism, all of this. It's like, because you can't or won't do something, there's something wrong with you. And I think differently. I think we all have a different energy system. And like I say, we're very aware of energy when it moves. And when we learn our own individual energy system and we understand how our energy and inspiration and motivation works, we can generally judge pretty well when we do or don't have energy to do a certain task. No matter how simple it seems, there's no point doing the dishes when you're really inspired to write. There's no point writing when you really feel like you need to do the dishes, right? It's like exactly the same. And also, what I have from a spiritual perspective, there's divine timing in everything. Now, we have gotten very used to living by schedules, like I say, living by deadlines. And often, those deadlines are not really necessary. Like, I mean, I'm sure some bureaucrats could really justify why we all have to do our taxes at the same bloody time every year. They can't obviously go through them all the same time every year. So why have the deadline that everyone has to do their taxes at the same time every year? The tax submissions for HMRC and that. And everyone gets stressed about them. I'm bringing that up because that's one of those things that I definitely would have used that term procrastinate. I would put off because it's a challenge for me. And then actually, there's a lot of conditioning. Like I say, I've had to undo around that. Figures isn't easy for us, but when I'm in the right energy, when I've got the right frame of mind, when I've got the right cognitive power, when I've got been able to organize certain things and have enough time, and I'm not forcing myself, I can do it. Maybe it's not as well as an accountant or a bookkeeper, someone who likes to do all that figure stuff, but I can do it. But gosh, the stress I have gone through in my life in the past because of this deadline that is like, oh, you're going to go to jail if you don't do your taxes at this point. It's kind of crazy. So these deadlines and stuff are implied, I think, almost to control us in certain ways, to keep us in line with that when they're not necessary. A lot of bureaucracy is not necessary, and we go along with it because that's how things are done. It's supposed to be some sort of like order and efficiency, when actually when you dive into them, I'm not sure how helpful they are. I'm sure the people who work in like well, I'm not sure at all, but I would guess I would imagine, let me know, people who work at HMRC, right? Is it not better for you? People just submitted their tax when they wanted throughout the year, and there was like more time to like just do it all when they come in, rather than having everyone in the country do the submission at the same time and then be completely overwhelmed with this massive workload, and then probably have to spend ages working through it anyway for it just to happen again. Like, I don't know, that doesn't make much sense to me. And I think as well, the reason this procrastination thing is coming up a lot at the minute, I think things come up, right? Things come into our awareness when we're ready to let it go, when we're ready to work through the wounds from a spiritual level, from a evolutionary level. And we're definitely going through massive spiritual evolutionary shifts on an energetic level in humanity generally. And a lot of our old ways of doing things and systems are dying. And at the minute, there's that kind of fight on, like, it's coming into our awareness, like, oh, I'm really having a problem with this procrastination, like a lot of people are. And there's all sorts of psychology stuff going on about procrastination and how to solve procrastination and all that. When actually I just think it's coming to our attention so we can let it go and really start to look at certain ways of being, expectations that we have, assumptions that we have of each other, to let them go. So a new, more harmonious way of being human can exist. We can maybe agree or disagree whether or not we need to do taxes at all. Probably do if we want to have some sort of communal benefit from our shared work, but does it really have to be, do they really have to follow these silly rules about how and when they need to be submitted and things like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, some of the structures that we have from the old, we might want to keep. and that needs to be assessed and analysed, but it needs to be assessed and analysed from like a holistic viewpoint. And at the minute, I think that's why this stuff is like procrastination is rising to the surface, so we can really look at it, and it'll get to a point where it's like so much of an issue for so many people that actually, can we ignore it anymore? And then what do we need to look at with that? Because the ripple effect of dealing with procrastination, or people like really internalizing that guilt, that shame, and not understanding their own energy systems and not working to their best self, the ripple effect of that is massive. We're talking on the NHS in the UK, on the healthcare system, on school systems, on university systems, on work systems. Whereas actually, maybe if we just really like looked at what causes this idea of procrastination and solve that problem, and what was definitely needed, what definitely is a necessary boundary, structure, deadline, what is necessary, and anything that's not, can we move it? Does it need to exist? And allow people to have more autonomy, to be able to choose for themselves, because we all have different energy systems, and some people like to work towards goal-orientated working and deadlines and things that other people don't, and it shouldn't be enforced on us either way. I think as adults, the whole point of being a responsible, accountable adult is that we know how to use our energy and get the best from ourselves, and we also know when we're going to put something off because it's not a priority, because it's not important, because actually feeding the kids is more important than cleaning up, or like I say, running my business right now is more important than doing my tax return from a year and a half ago. It's up to us, I think, in the new world that I would love to see develop from these old systems. There'll be a lot more autonomy and respect for each of our individuality and diversity. So I hope this little video has helped. Let me know what you think. Please do like the video, comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe to our channel. It'll be our channel. And yes, if you're interested, actually, because like I say, the reason this is kind of sparking is I'm actually writing a course called Freedom from Illusion, and this idea of procrastination, I think, came up because I'm considering the illusions that we live under, and this illusion that we should be and have to be a certain way, and this illusion that we need to meet other people's expectations or the standards of other people's assumptions of us is all an illusion. It's an illusion of our mind that can cause us a lot of challenges. So if you're interested in that, I am developing that course, and you can sign up on the waiting list below, and I also create lots of free content like this and publish it, and blogs and things like that. So if you join the mailing list and sign up for that course, you'll be notified when it's ready for you to access, but also you'll be able to be part of our Love School mailing list and get lots of really interesting content like this straight to your inbox. But yes, subscribe to the channel, please. I'm really trying to build up this channel. It would be amazing to actually see some of the videos get some traction. If this has helped you reframe this idea of procrastination, let me know in the comments. Let me know how procrastination, or the idea of procrastination, has been ruling or ruining your life. I'd love to have a discussion about it. Thanks for watching. Bye.